Hi everyone, welcome to Film Files. Today I wanted to talk about The Brutalist. The Brutalist might be a little bit intimidating because of its long runtime for people who are not used to watching longer films. But what I felt about this film was that it was extremely well paced. So it doesn't feel like a film that's longer than 3 hours, which is what it is. It feels more like a 2.5 hour 2 hour 20-minute kind of movie. Even though the story has, ups and downs, it ebbs and flows, it's not a traditional narrative in the sense that there's a core conflict, there's a protagonist who goes through an arc, and he overcomes some obstacles. This isn't that kind of film. It runs like a biopic where the person has a few challenges in and out of life, where life takes them across different pathways and things kind of happen to the protagonist rather than them leading the charge, which is an interesting take for a film because most of the time you want an active protagonist, but in this film he's quite passive. He does achieve things once things are presented to him, once challenges are presented, opportunities are presented, and what he does with them is what his life story becomes. It was very intriguing in the way that it was told. I really couldn't tell where the film was going, as it had many unexpected occurrences that happen within the film. So how do you keep someone engaged for over 3 hours, 3.5 hours, without a major conflict and a major villain? I know that Guy Pearce plays the villain in this movie, but that only happens towards the end of the film. In the beginning, he's more of a benefactor who's pompous, loudmouthed, full of himself. He plays it pretty well. Guy Pearce did really suit the role, even though I felt that he wasn't looking old enough to be in that specific character position. Majority of the acting in this film is quite good. It really makes me believe in their characters. It's refreshing for me to see a period piece that moves as fast as this one does, but with the characters feeling as real as this one does. I wanted to say that it was a really good job done by Brady Corbet. I did enjoy his previous films. Vox Lux in particular was very intriguing. I didn't love it, but I respect it. I found a lot of interesting ideas in it. And similarly with this film, even though it's a period piece, they do a lot of creatively different things with it. And I did appreciate that. Overall, I felt that this film was a really well directed, well acted, well written, and well shot piece of art. It is very, very visceral. The way that they portray the post-war stress that these characters go through, the trauma that they're trying to recover from. They say a lot without saying a lot. They say a lot without showing a lot. They don't really show the war, but you feel the effects of the war just from the faces and emotions of these characters. In the beginning, when the two cousins hug for the first time and are reunited after Adrien Brody arrives in America, you can really feel the effects of the war and the escape that followed. You feel it just from that scene. Brady Corbet was completely in control of every character and frame of this film. I did get to watch it in 70mm, and I appreciate that I got to enjoy it in film because it is definitely a unique cinematic experience. They've done a lot with a very small budget. A lot of shots are close-ups and inserts. They're not super wide shots, but they look very cinematic. It is a beautiful film, and above all, the soundtrack is really just attention grabbing, and it feels like an epic right off the bat just because of the soundtrack. It sets the mood incredibly well. I had two major issues with the film. The first one was when Adrien Brody gets kicked out of his cousin's house. There is a scene with his cousin's wife that wants to tell a story that it doesn't end up telling effectively. So the scenes that follow and how he gets kicked out of that house don't really work because that whole sequence is kind of marred by this one scene. Even though you know what they're trying to convey in the scene, it doesn't work as well as it's supposed to. And the ending of the film is quite abrupt. It feels like the film amps up to this climatic moment between Felicity Jones and Guy Pearce. And in the next scene, Guy Pearce is missing, and the scene after that, Felicity Jones is missing. And the way they ended it was quite sudden. And I don't know if that was a feeling that the director went for, where the sequence of events happen with ebbs and flows, and then it just ends. And if that was the intention, it was an interesting ending. I didn't connect with it as much as the director wanted me to, but I do appreciate it. This is maybe the most well-made film of the year. It is both structurally and emotionally and technically sound. I would highly recommend that you watch it, even for audiences that are not used to watching films that are this long. This is a great watch, and I definitely would recommend it.